All right, this is the second lesson for the week that I'm at home, and it's a continuation of the first one. So we did the Declaration of Independence on the first day, and you got to see the document. Today is all about the reaction to the Declaration of Independence from women. And the lessons go together really neatly. So if you didn't finish last class, you can easily pick that up again today, and it fits with what we're doing today. But that said, this is in your Schoology assignments, day 2 of the lessons, what I'm about to present. So we're going to start with this song from the musical because that's our central text. It's called the Schuyler Sisters, and I'm going to show it to you in a moment so that you can see what I'm asking you to do. There's a direct quote from the Declaration of Independence, and I'm going to underline that in front of you, and then I'm going to tell you what the bonus question is, What is Common Sense by Thomas Paine. You might know, so I'm letting you hear that now, and you can make those guesses in your mind. And then I'll show you the second source, which is a primary source, a nonfiction source, from Abigail Adams to her husband, John. So the two texts work really neatly together because they're both women reacting to this moment in history and this new declaration that their new country has issued. And they're both wondering, how does this impact me, a woman? So today in our lesson, you'll have both texts in front of you. I'll ask you to annotate the song and then look at the letter, annotate the letter, and lastly, wonder, well, what do they have in common before your STEM? All right, so that's what we're doing, and this is what it looks like. All right, so here's the document that you have in Schoology, and it's the same as what you had on day 1. Day 2 is called The Women React. So I'm giving you two texts. One is a song from the musical, and one is a letter from Abigail Adams to her husband, John Adams, who was a founding father. The task is to annotate both texts and then compare them in a chart that I'm providing, and then your STEM. So whereas on day 1, you were only annotating a very long and difficult document, today you'll be annotating 2 documents and trying to understand what they have in common. There is a lot on the second day. Go at the pace that you can, and I'll be able to check remotely to see what you all came up with. So the first part is to look at Schuyler Sisters, the song, and Miss Loving will play the video to let you see them dancing and singing and engaging in the scene. And this is a pretty easy text. It's not like the Declaration of Independence anyway. So your annotations don't need to be summary. You don't need to restate what is already there for you and might seem obvious. Instead, I'm asking you to fill each box, there are 3 boxes, with 2 to 3 comments, quick little notes. You don't have to summarize, you can summarize. I've included here little notes like carriages, reminder, no cars yet, it's 1776. Schuyler, I happen to know who that is. It's an early congressman with 3 daughters. And this is where, in your own documents, right, this can be one of the first things you do, you will see some direct allusions to what was happening in history. And it's later on when Angelica is singing, and you'll hear this too, Angelica and Eliza and Peggy have this great quote that's directly from the Declaration of Independence. So in that box, I might write, and you could absolutely do this, a direct line from the Declaration, always shorthand with notes of independence. Okay, and then up above, just a little bit above that, this is an allusion, Common Sense by Thomas Paine, to a famous, it's a pamphlet, basically, that was being handed around at the time where Paine argued that the states should be free. That's background knowledge of my own. I'm bringing it to bear. If you have any background knowledge of these places or people, you should always include them. Those are good annotations to make. And then you can use these if you like as you're making your annotations. So that's part 1. Part 2 is this document. This is where it gets a little bit more difficult in the text because the letter is dated 1776. It's a primary source, but it's much shorter. I'm asking you, like yesterday or like Tuesday, to summarize each of these blocked paragraphs. And this is a good activity to do with a partner or in groups if you like, because it does get more, the word is heady. It's technical language. Abigail Adams is asking John Adams to react to the women's situation in the country. And she is trying to describe for him how they haven't been treated well by history. And she's hoping this is a new chapter for women. Then I want you to compare those two texts. So both texts are about women in the 1770s in America. One is fictional, one is non-fictional. One is set in a very real place because it's non-fictional, where Abigail Adams is writing to her husband, and one is set with these fictional women singing a song about what it might have been like in New York City. What do both of them say about women in the early country? And then how are the women in those texts portrayed? What do they seem like? So this short text is the last major piece for the day before your stem. So 4 pieces for day 2. Do your best, again, and work in groups as it helps you.